There is a certain kind of film that audiences find deeply satisfying. Someone does harm. A victim asks for help. The police say they need evidence. The lawyers say there is a process. The courts say it will take time. Everyone tells the victim the same thing: stay calm. Show restraint. Trust the law. But the harm continues. The person causing it does not stop. And the one who bears the consequences is often the person who still believes in the rules. Then someone appears who refuses to wait. He steps outside the process and punishes those who have escaped the reach of the law. We call that person a vigilante. Citizen Vigilante did not make me wonder how a person should take revenge. It made me ask a different question. Why do audiences stand with the vigilante, even when they understand that private revenge is dangerous? Why do so many people feel relief, rather than fear, when he finally confronts those who have caused the harm? Perhaps what people are drawn to is not violence. What they are really longing for is a response. They want to see a problem that has been ignored for years finally addressed. They want to see someone who keeps hurting others finally stopped. They want to see people who hide behind procedure and exploit the rules finally face consequences they can no longer avoid. In real life, wrongdoing often arrives on time. Fraud does not wait. Harm does not wait. Threats do not wait. And people who break the rules do not suspend their behavior simply because their victims are waiting for the legal process to move. Justice, however, is often late. Filing a report takes time. An investigation takes time. A hearing takes time. A judgment takes time. Enforcing that judgment takes still more time. And while the victim waits, time, money, health, and dignity continue to disappear. Eventually, the law may acknowledge the truth. You were right. The other party broke the rules. You were harmed. But by the time those words finally arrive, the damage may already be done. A life has been disrupted. Money may be gone for good. The psychological cost may already be severe. The person the law was supposed to protect has paid a heavy price simply to reach the end of the process. So we have to ask, when justice arrives late, is it still complete justice? A judgment can establish who was right and who was wrong. But it cannot return the time that was lost. A procedure can be declared complete. That does not mean the problem has been resolved. When justice in the real world fails to arrive, film offers an emotional substitute. In a film, there are no endless delays. No unanswered messages. No calls transferred from one office to another. No forms completed again and again without any visible result. The offender acts. The vigilante appears. Punishment follows. Cause and consequence are suddenly clear. Justice that has been delayed, blurred, and passed from one institution to another becomes immediate and direct. That is why the audience feels relief. Not because people are naturally cruel. Not because they truly want to live in a society where anyone can punish anyone else. They feel relief because they have waited too long to see a meaningful response. They want the harm to stop. They want the rules to work. They want those who break the rules to face the consequences. The vigilante may look like a hero. But from another perspective, he is a social symptom. The more a society needs vigilantes to satisfy its imagination of justice, the more it suggests that its real institutions are losing public trust. I do not support private revenge. A person's anger may be justified. The injury may be real. But neither anger nor injury can automatically become law. Once every individual begins deciding who is guilty and what punishment they deserve, society no longer shares a common set of rules. Today, one person punishes an offender in the name of justice. Tomorrow, someone else may harm an innocent person under the same claim. Film is film. Reality is reality. Private revenge cannot replace the law. But if we want to prevent private revenge, we cannot place the entire burden of restraint on the victim. We cannot allow the harm to continue while repeatedly telling the person being harmed, remain calm. Keep waiting. Trust the process. The law must earn public trust by being fair. Public authority must also be capable of stopping, in time, those who deliberately break the rules, disrupt order, and harm other people. The purpose of law is not merely to tell law-abiding people what they are forbidden to do. Its more important purpose is to restrain those who deliberately violate the rules. The law cannot be designed only for decent people while remaining powerless against the unscrupulous. People who keep their word, respect contracts, and consider the consequences are usually the easiest people for the law to restrain. They do not want to break the law. They do not want trouble. They are willing to respect the rules that hold society together. But they are not the true test of a legal system. The real test is the person who ignores agreements, delays in bad faith, disrupts order, and treats another person's restraint as weakness. If every limitation falls on those who respect the rules, while those who cause the disorder can manipulate procedure, delay procedure, and hide behind the law as they continue to harm others, then the law restrains only the decent. Against the unscrupulous, it becomes powerless. Over time, obedience to the law no longer feels like safety. It begins to feel like a one-sided restraint. And those who break the rules learn a dangerous lesson. If they are aggressive enough, shameless enough, and skilled enough at delay, the other person will be forced to pay the higher price. That is not what the rule of law is supposed to produce. The rule of law is not only about restraining a victim's anger. It is about stopping the conduct of the person causing the harm. It cannot tolerate obvious disorder indefinitely in the name of preserving procedure. And it cannot demand all patience, all restraint, and all sacrifice from the person who has already been injured. When the law cannot stop someone who is breaking the rules, but can still tell the victim to remain calm, what it preserves may no longer be order. It may be only the appearance of calm. Beneath that appearance, anger does not disappear. It accumulates. Disappointment in institutions accumulates with it. Until one day, people no longer believe the law can protect them. They begin to hope that someone unconstrained by the process will appear. That is the real warning behind vigilante films. The danger is not only the person on the screen who has crossed the boundary of the law. The greater danger is that more and more ordinary people begin to believe that crossing that boundary is the only way a problem can be solved. Citizen Vigilante did not leave me excited by revenge. It left me uneasy. Why does the vigilante appear? Why does the audience sympathize with him? Why can someone who bypasses the law make us feel that justice has finally arrived? The answer may not lie in the vigilante at all. It may lie in the years of waiting. In the requests for help that receive no answer. In judgments that have been issued, but never truly enforced. Private revenge cannot become justice. But disorder tolerated in the name of law can destroy the rule of law just as surely. If a society does not want people to romanticize private punishment, it cannot limit itself to teaching ordinary people to remain calm, obey the law, and keep waiting. It must also allow people who respect the rules to see that the rules are protecting them. The law should not appear only when a victim becomes angry, merely to explain what that victim is forbidden to do. It should appear when the harm begins, and stop the person who is breaking the rules. The rule of law should not force decent people to wait without end. It should make those who break the rules face the consequences in time. Only then will people no longer need to search for justice in films. Only then will the vigilante once again become a figure we fear, rather than a hero we secretly hope will arrive. The film has ended. The question has not. Even after a court has issued its judgment, we still have to ask, has justice actually been done? That is the question we will examine in the next episode of Fractures in Civilization.